Hey ladies, this is Filmy from Black Women Moving On, and a month ago I started a womb healing circle in my home, and I was able to learn a lot about what different ladies are going through. And one thing that was not talked about a lot, or it was hard to talk about, was definitely womb illness. But I'm going to start out with something a little bit more private that a lot of women don't talk about. This issue came up in my group. So sexual frigidity. Women that are sexually frigid, it's a problem that women are having where they cannot relax enough to have sex, or they are relaxed and for some reason sex is painful. It's just a problem. So that's just the first thing I'm going to go through, and then I'm going to move into talking about womb illness. And a lot of times, not all the time, there is something called vaginal dryness that is actually a medical issue, but I would first go to a doctor to see if that's what you have. Don't assume automatically, oh, it's just, a lot of times ladies like to just kind of say, oh, well, I was just born this way and there's nothing I can do, and they feel helpless. No, like, it's not always the case. Vaginal dryness or which can result in sexual frigidity, for other women who don't have that medical issue, it's usually spiritual and emotional. As women, we're incubators, and whatever we put into our bodies, or whoever we have sex with, it affects us in our womb. It affects us spiritually, and it affects us emotionally, and it can affect us sexually. So if you find that, my phone is going off, if you find that you feel sexually frigid and you love this person, or you care about this person, or maybe you're just used to having casual sex that is more, fulfilling, and you notice recently it's not working, it's not working, but it's just not pleasurable. There are some reasons for that, and I'm just going to go over some things that have come up in the different womb circles that I've had. So one of the reasons why women get sexually frigid is because foreplay is not there, and foreplay means something different. A lot of guys think that the moment they get erect and the moment they get excited, just because you're willing to have sex with them, if you're married or if you're in a relationship, just because you're there and you look nice, they're sprung and they're ready to go, and they just kind of view you as being there as enough, or just kissing you. Guys think, oh, I'm just gonna hug her and kiss her for 5 seconds and that's enough, and that's often not enough. Especially for younger ladies who are not used to a lot of experimentation. Being dry, like having sex when you're not lubricated, is one of the worst things. It's just horrible. So make sure he does foreplay and let him know. Have this conversation before you have sex, because there's nothing more frustrating to a man than being ready and energized, and then you got to stop and talk. No guy wants to talk when he's ready to have sex. So have this conversation before you have sex, before, like a while before, and let him know that you want him to please you, and you want him to have, you want him to ensure that he can, that you both, not even him, but you want him to please you, and you want to be able to enjoy it as much as he does. And that's most men who care about you. They want you to enjoy yourself, and they will feel psychologically emasculated if they cannot please you. So let him know this is really just to help both of you. So let him, you really need to experiment. For some women, it's stimulation orally. For some women, it's playing with the breast. For some women, it's spanking. Some people are more into S&M. But when it comes to being lubricated, you have to be lubricated, and you really don't need, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but you should not need to use lubrication to have sex. You really shouldn't. You should be naturally lubricated. When you're in the zone, you should be normally. Now, if you can't, and you're going for it, some guys last a lot longer than others, then get it. No harm, no foul. Make sure you get some that isn't filled with too many chemicals naturally, but you should be lubricated, because it's very painful. A lot of the reasons why you ladies are frigid is because, honestly, you're not that turned on. And I'm just going to be honest really quick. This is something I had to stop doing. A lot of women will be with guys for their personality and how they treat them. Looks are important. Looks are important. I would advise you ladies to stop settling for men that don't look good to you. They need to look good to you. His money and what he looks like. If you can have great sex with him, fine. But if you're watching this video and you agree with what I'm saying, you may need to upgrade your man, because he may not be that great looking. He may not be the kind of man that's passionate enough. Some men look good, but they're not passionate. They just don't invoke the type of passion, the kind of inspiration, there's no lust. You don't lust after the person you're with. So that's why he doesn't turn you on. You're attracted to his money, you're attracted to his personality, but everything else is gone. And women can look past the physical, but we shouldn't, because sex should be enjoyable for both of us. So a lot of women who are sexually frigid, biologically you're fine. Because if you're with a guy and you never want him, and if you go outside and every time you go outside or you watch a movie or you have dreams, and one of the biggest signs that the person you're with is not good looking enough for you, or is not passionate enough, or does not invoke passion from you or lust from you, is that you start to have dreams about other people. If you start having dreams about other people, man or woman, that means that your person, it may not be an issue of them sexually satisfying you. This is deeper. This may be, honestly, you want better. You crave better. You crave a different type of magnetic personality that will draw you sexually. Because it's not always about looks either. It's about passion and inspiration. And some men or women, some men or some people can draw that. You know what I'm saying? I've had boyfriends who were nice, but they were like, eh. And then I've had men who had more flaws, or who were decent too, but who just were more passionate, or who something about their very existence just made me go crazy, like make me fall madly in love, and I always wanted to be with them. And if the person you're with is not that, does not make you feel like that sexually, not emotionally, all that and love stuff, but I mean sexually, because it's sexual life. Once you get serious with somebody, your sex life is very important. You need to dump them and you need to move on. And that doesn't mean the next time you're with somebody, you just worry about that sexual compatibility and you forget everything else. It needs to be a part of the package. So that's something as well. And also, like I said, talking to your guy and making sure he knows that sex with you, pleasing you, is different than just entering in and entering out. Like, let him know, like, if you want to really have me enjoy it, and men's worst fear is faking it. If you want me never to have to fake it with you again, and be like, yeah, another guy, a lot of women do that, and I don't ever want to do that with you. I want you to be da-da-da-da, like, really pump his head up or whatever. This is what I need. And he'll be happy to fulfill your needs if you're not with a jerk. And if you are with a jerk, then dump him or divorce him or whatever. So that's with sexual frigidity. You have to make sure the person that you're with actually is, and it's not like, I don't want to say looks, because it's not just looks, it's energy, it's charisma. Oh my God, it's charm. Men who are like that, they don't have to look like, Brad Pitt, or Idris Elba to invoke that kind of response to you. You can just have your own thing. And if your guy may have been great a couple years ago, and maybe he let himself go and he doesn't want to get himself together, or maybe you just settled for a nice guy, or you settled for an okay guy, and move on, because he's not going to be happy with you if you keep faking it, or if you're difficult to sleep with. And it's not just about him, but it's also you. Like, you deserve to be happy. So that's just my little tidbit on sexual frigidity, and for women, because I feel like we're not really focused on fulfilling our sexual needs. And a lot of women do the right thing, and they do get married, or they do get into committed serious relationships, and you think the sex is supposed to be great because I'm committed, blah, 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 and it's not. Then you come to a womb healing circle that I have. I actually have a virtual one running right now. So check the site, the link's at the bottom. You're like, oh my God, I have this great guy, I have this, everything should be perfect, but it sucks. And then you're watching porn or something, or you're tempted to have an affair or something like that, because the sex is horrible. And you can deal with that, but you have to be honest. So there's another issue, and this is why I started my womb healing circle, because I noticed that this is something that women were talking about, and there was talk. Women do a lot of talking, but then there's not a lot of getting out of the situation. So I formed the womb healing circle to help us get out of whatever situation, not just sit down and hold hands and kumbaya about our pain. Some women do that, and I've seen it even in my family sometimes. They'll just sit down and be like, yeah, this is what medication I'm on. This is what medication I'm on. This is what medication I'm on. Even with me, like, I gain a couple pounds, I don't have any illnesses. I don't take any medication. If I feel myself feeling sluggish, I go to the gym and eat healthier. It's that simple. I don't ever want to get to the point where I'm on any medications for anything. Except allergy medication, but even then, I usually don't have them. I don't have allergies that bad anymore because I eat more greens and vegetables, but that's another conversation. So I'm not going to make this video super long. When it comes to womb healing and womb illnesses, a lot of ladies don't understand. you really got to watch what you eat. Because when it comes to the womb, some ladies have chronic yeast infections. And this is one angle that people don't think about when it comes to yeast infections, that you may not want to think about, and that I've told some women to think about. If your marriage or your relationship isn't going that well, or even if you think it is, some women eat healthy, they're great, they've gone to the doctor, they don't know why they keep getting yeast infections. If you're having sex with somebody who has an STD, and a lot of men have STDs, and they are carriers for STDs, or a lot of your men are cheating on you, and they're hiding their symptoms, or they're currently taking medication for it and you don't know. If you have a cheater or a reformed cheater or somebody, and you keep getting yeast infections, I would either take an STD test for all of them, or I would pay closer attention to your man. Because if you have sex with a man who has an STD and you don't know it, he can hide, not all the symptoms are so obvious. When he goes into you raw, most likely, which he does, his infected sperm and infected genital area is toxic to your womb, and you don't have an STD, hopefully, but just that bacteria or that infected skin, infected body fluid getting into your womb can cause yeast infections back to back to back, because you're continually having sex with a person who's reinfecting you. It doesn't even have to be they're reinfecting you with an STD, but they're putting their infected body tissue and body excrement, whatever, in your vagina. So when it comes to yeast infections, if it's not something you're doing, if it's not a reaction to, let's say, smelly lotions, scent soap, all that, Bath and Body Works stuff, stop that. It's not good. You shouldn't have that near your vagina. You shouldn't have that down there. Even with douching, I honestly don't know why women do. You should not have to douche. That is a completely, the ones with the because the ones with the chemicals in it, the chemicals in the water and stuff, you should not have to do that. Your vagina naturally cleanses itself. Your body can cleanse yourself. You do not need to spray anything up there. You should never have to put anything up your vagina. You shouldn't. That's totally unnecessary. And if your stuff stinks, it's probably your diet. It's either your diet, or it's the person you're sleeping with who's putting his dirty sperm. Let's be honest, because a lot of ladies are healthy, but their man isn't healthy. And toxic sperm, a lot of ladies, you can't get pregnant, or if you end up getting pregnant, or you end up getting children that are born early or have birth defects, the woman will constantly blame herself. But if you're with a man with a toxic lifestyle and a toxic diet or toxic genetics, back in the day when people got married, they didn't just get married based off of how much money you had or what you look like or what your parents did. The families would sit down, and this still happens in India and parts of Africa. They will sit down, and Arabs do. In the Middle East, families will, when they sit down for marriage, and this, I'm serious, this happens now. The families will say, okay, they want to get married. They'll actually interview the families, and then they'll actually get the wife and the husband will both get tested for illnesses, so that both of them know, when we combine our family line together, these are the illnesses that our offspring could possibly have. And some men or women don't marry into other families that have a history of certain illnesses because they don't want that in their gene pool. That happens now. And a lot of you are like, what? No, that still happens. Your genetic, your color, your race, your hair texture, if your aunt has this, if your uncle has that all matters still today. It's not practiced in our community no, it's really not. But in other places, that's something to consider. So you really, when it comes to getting, infections and stuff like that, or you stink down there and you're doing everything right, you got to be conscious of who you're sleeping with. There are different ways to cleanse out the energy if you have been sleeping with guys like that, or you've been sleeping around in general with guys. There are ways to cleanse out the energy as well as naturally clean your womb out. And I'm so glad I had that womb healing circle, because we were able to share that stuff. So if you want to fix the situation, it's totally anonymous. If you want to join, check out the link below. You can join the circle, or I do one-on-one sessions for womb healing for those who need help with some of the things I've mentioned. And it also is available to women who deal with sexual trauma, rape, molestation, different things like that, which may cause sexual frigidity, or even just you just feel like you just need that support. So definitely click on the link. I have some openings later this week and next week as well. Don't forget there is a conference. There's a Sister Circle conference in a week and a half about how to start your own womb healing circle, how to start your own Sister Circle. So this isn't just about, oh, this is what I do. I really want to focus on what I know, teaching other women, so you can go out and do it yourself. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to, you know, call me or whatever. You can learn it once and then you're good for life. So there's a conference on that. You can check the website for that conference, or you can literally just work with me for 2 weeks. 2 weeks and then you're done, and I actually help you start your own. So within 2 weeks you have your own stuff and you can be making your own videos, and that's how we become self-sufficient, is we learn from each other and then we go off and do our own thing. We're not dependent, you know what I'm saying, on one person all the time. So yeah, definitely check that out. For more serious things when it comes to fibroids, and for a lot of ladies who I know have been getting surgeries, they have cysts and they keep getting them cut out and they keep growing, you really need to look into what medications you are taking for other illnesses. A lot of ladies are taking toxic medications, like, for instance, my mom with MS and they have other health issues, and it's like that. A lot of these medications have side effects. Read the small print. Like, go to your prescription bottle, flip open that tab that's glued together, and if you know, look at when you get the prescription, the bag that has the paper stapled on there. Read all those. I'm telling you, read all those side effects. Write them down. Write down what you're experiencing, and then write down and put them next to each other and look. And then Google the medication. Don't just do that. Google the medication and look for stories of people who have taken it and see if there's any adverse reactions, because what you're taking for something else can cause cysts, fibroids, cancer. Yeah, so that's another thing. And with fibroids, a lot of people can naturally, did you ladies know you can naturally get rid of fibroids? You can naturally heal your womb by changing your lifestyle and your diet, especially if you catch it early. So if you caught it early and you know other women who've been through all of that and you don't want to have to deal with it, you know, definitely come talk to me. Definitely get a womb healing session, because there are those who've done it and it doesn't work, or who wants to get your womb removed, who wants to go through that. You know what I'm saying? Definitely come get a womb healing session, because my mom had to have, she had cysts, and I remember watching her in bed when I was in like middle school, just in so much pain. And I've never had it, but it's been in my family for such a long time, and it's just like I really made it a point to live in a way, and not just live in a way, but also work with ladies who deal with it, because it's personal when you have to watch someone you love suffer like that. So I'm going to end this video at 18 minutes. I think this is going to be one of the shortest videos ever, where I'm actually really going into detail and talking about some things. So definitely check out everything on the site. I have so much stuff that I offer. A lot of ladies just come for like a divine reading, and then they're like, oh, you know, I didn't know you did that. I'm like, yeah, just click the other links. All the links are at the bottom, and you can see the different things. But take care of your womb, take care of your body, and be careful who you sleep with. Even if you love the person, even if they're great, sometimes they're just not good enough. And sometimes you're not good enough. So that'll be all. I have to go do some errands, and I have a divine reading in like 5 minutes. So have a great day.